please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Hello and welcome to Business Lunch. I'm Nisha Podar and with me as always Sonia Shenoy. Sonia, good afternoon. It's green on the screen today. And look at Sensex Nifty. They're both up, though Sensex is about 0.35% higher in trades. It's the mid caps which are also in line, really chugging along and have shown a huge amount of gain today. But Bank Nifty, that's the one which is showing most amount of strength, over 1% in trading session at this point, Sonia.
Oh yes, but you know, if you look at the headline index, there's no real conclusive recovery after what we saw last week. Just trudging along around that 10,000 mark on the index itself. The key pocket this afternoon really is the PSU banks and the recovery we're seeing there. Bank of Baroda is now up almost about 5% odd. It has SBI for company, so not too bad. It's just that when you see laggard sectors picking up, then that doesn't really mean a conclusive recovery. We need to see a couple of more days before getting that conviction. For now, it's okay. The market's just about flatlining with some good moves seen in individual banks. In the globe, though, Asian markets closed mixed amidst the trade war fears. Crude has also been in focus on the back of comments from the Saudi energy minister, stressing on coordinated supply cuts into 2019. And in Europe, the International Monetary Fund Managing Director Christine Lagarde is poised to deliver a speech on the future of the single currency in around half an hour from now.
And moving on to some global opinion coming in as well. Nobel laureate Robert Shiller and Joseph Stiglitz warn of an economic slowdown from trade war and threats in an exclusive with CNBC. They also add that they have global growth and recovery will adversely be impacted.
Immediate thing will be an economic crisis because these enterprises are built on long-term planning. They've developed a skilled workforce and ways of doing things that we have to rediscover these things in whatever country, you know, after the imports are cut off. And it's just chaos. It will slow down development in the future if people think that this kind of thing is likely.
If there is a broad range increase in tariffs, it would affect their cost of living. The inflation would lead the Fed to raise interest rates at a higher rate. It would certainly impose a risk to the return of the U.S. to robust economic growth.
All right, let's come back home, right, and get you some top corporate voices. Pawan Goenka of Mahindra & Mahindra is very optimistic about growth in the tractor segment. He also says that they will launch 3 new SUVs in FY19. When we asked him about the growth for tractors, he said that about a 6 to 10% growth is something that's reasonable if the monsoons are okay. If the monsoons are better, then you can even expect 8% growth. Let's take a look.
Overall, I don't expect a significant risk to profitability unless we have some major negative surprise. We are going into the year with almost no headwinds. The agriculture output has been good, the MSP prices have been good, the government's focus on agri and rural development is unmissed and absolutely very high. And normally, and as you said, that the very first indication of monsoon also is positive. GST is all settled in. So I really don't see any reason why we should have a negative growth during this year. The normal growth in the tractor industry over a long term always has been 8 to 10%. So starting off the year to project a growth much higher than 8 to 10% will be difficult. But we will wait to see how the monsoon forecast comes up and then we will have to look whether industry will surprise us or not. So right now we are going in with a view that the growth will be in the normal range, which is as low as 6 if the monsoon is not good, and as high as 10 if the monsoon is good. But we have had 2 very good years, and on top of that, to get a 8 to 10% growth will be very good third year. In the last 2 years, SUVs have significantly outperformed the passenger car segment, and today constitute 28-29% of the total passenger vehicle volume comes from SUVs, which perhaps is amongst the highest in the world. For Mahindra, we have, like you said, 2 launches, 2 major launches coming up, and Also G4 Rexton from SsangYong coming in as a high-end SUV, and therefore we have 3 launches that will happen of new products during this year.
Well, it is flat for the markets, but look at some stocks. Canara Bank is one stock that's surging right now. Of course, we all have heard rumors of an impending deal, but Canara Bank, a deal in Canfin Homes, of course, but Canara Bank is the one that's really piling up those gains right now in anticipation of that. A couple of other stocks that deserve mention. Jubilant Foodworks has actually hit a new 52-week high today, so looking pretty good. In fact, the entire consumption basket has picked up. So not just Jubilant Foodworks, but you have something like a Bata that's surging now up almost 3%. Talking about consumption, even as the tussle between CPRL's Vikram Bakshi and McDonald's India continues in the courtroom, we learned from sources that McDonald's India Private Limited has now been working on rebuilding its brand in the country. Getting hungry? Well, CNBC TV18's Priya Sheth has this exclusive. Priya, what do you have?
Oh, well, absolutely. In the midst of the controversy with Vikram Bakshi, we understand that McDonald's India Private Limited is looking at rebranding or rebuilding its brand as far as India is concerned and emphasizing its commitment for the country. In fact, McDonald's is doing this in a couple of ways. Firstly, we understand that it's likely to have appointed a Standard Chartered Bank in Singapore to look for a new partner for its North and East operations. Of course, this we're talking as, even as the controversy that is panning out within the courtroom. But of course, the Standard Chartered Bank in Singapore is likely to help McDonald's look at valuation and other details as far as the overall structure of their operations in the North and East is concerned. We also understand that McDonald's has appointed APCO Worldwide to manage media as well as government affairs. Do remember that APCO has come in at a time when corporates are mired in controversy. Do remember that APCO also came in when Nestle India was having its Maggi crisis. So this is possibly one tool that McDonald's has picked to actually grow its and emphasize its commitment in the country. We also do understand that McDonald's India Private Limited has reached out to several government, central as well as state officials on a series of issues. It's spoken to DIPP, FSSAI as well as the health ministry is what we do understand from our sources. State governments including Punjab, Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh have also met senior representatives as far as McDonald's is concerned. Of course, the issue at hand is resolving concerns with regards to job losses as well as many other food safety issues. We did write to McDonald's and the company has confirmed that there were meetings with government officials last year at both federal as well as state levels. The meetings were conducted to assess the market situation and business activities in the country, and also they've confirmed that APCO has been something that the company has been working with since 2017.
All right, thanks Priya for getting us all those details. Now to another deal story. One amongst the 5 suitors for IDBI Federal Life Insurance is attempting to jump the queue. Also, what is not known is who among these 5 companies is really leading the race to buy out the asset. Yash Jain, my colleague, gets us all the exclusive details on that. Yash, who is this dark horse that we're talking about and who are the top contenders here?
Well, before I really talk to you about the dark horse, let me just address the first part of the story. As far as the acquisition of IDBI Federal Life is concerned, we are given to understand that Max Life and Aditya Birla Sun Life are 2 top contenders to acquire this stake. And interestingly, Exide Life Insurance is also one of the companies in the fray and could be that one dark horse that we are referring to. Why do I say that? To understand this particular question, we'll have to look at the shareholding pattern for IDBI Federal Life Insurance. 48% owned by IDBI Bank, 26% by Federal Bank and 26% by Belgian insurance company Aegis. Now, what we're given to understand is that Aegis Insurance has reached out to Exide Life Insurance. Of course, this is out of the whole formal bidding process in order to essentially establish an agreement under which Aegis, by exercising its right of first refusal, will give an opportunity to Exide Life Insurance to top up the H1 or the highest bid as far as the bidding for IDBI Federal Life Insurance is concerned. Now, why is Aegis only speaking to Exide Life Insurance? Now, to understand that, if you look at the top contenders, which is Max Life and Aditya Birla Sun Life, both of them have a foreign partner. If Aegis wants to continue in this life insurance JV, which is IDBI Federal Life Insurance, it will have to choose a company which does not have a foreign partner so that the FDI cap of 49% is not breached. And in that situation, that company happens to be Exide Life. Now, at this point of time, would Exide Life really trump the bids from top 2 contenders? Very difficult to comment on that, but certainly it's making the ground to do the same thing.
Okay, well, thanks a lot for that, Yash. Let's move on now to the pharma space. Cadila Health is definitely our top gainer in trading trade today in the broader markets. Dr. Reddy's is also buzzing. Ekta is here to tell us why. Ekta, over to you.
Well, I'll start with the news on Cadila. There have been 2 brokerage upgrades which have come through on Cadila today. So, for example, CLSA has upgraded the stock to buy from underperform with a target price of 450 rupees. They find the current valuations attractive on an FY19 and 20 basis. Potential earnings driver include a strong US pipeline, improving India and emerging market outlook. Nomura has upgraded the stock to a buy with a target price of 426. According to them, the risk reward is favorable. Separately, there has been a launch, a significant launch which has taken place by Cadila for Toprol XL generic, which is basically used for chest pain, heart failure, high blood pressure, and the approval is from Cadilla's formulation SEZ in Ahmedabad. Toprol is around a 4 to 5 player market. But it is definitely a positive indication for what's happening when it comes to the US launches, and Cadila can make around $15 million from the drug. Now, Dr. Reddy's is in focus because of multiple pieces of news which have emerged over the past couple of days. So, for example, Credit Suisse has spoken on on Suboxone generic, where Alvogen has won in the district court in the US, and hence it reduces the likelihood of a best case scenario for Dr. Reddy's on that drug. Dr. Reddy's has also launched Aloxi generic in the US. Remember that Cipla mentioned that they've launched the authorized generic. So this is basically before the prospected launch date of September 2018. And hence, however, the street is estimating lesser amount of sales from Aloxi for Dr. Reddy's, though it is definitely a positive launch for them. Cadila has launched Toprol. Like I mentioned, it is one of the biggest drugs for Dr. Reddy's, so that too is a negative. Remember that Dr. Reddy's was making around $50 million from that drug. And additional news is more competition in their NuvaRing generic filing, where there is one more company which has filed for the same version of the drug. And Sagent has received approval for one of the drugs Dr. Reddy's presented in the cancer space, Dacogen. So there is multiple pieces of news which seem to be weighing on the company.
Take a look at the markets. Nifty 50 has lost some bit of gains, and Bank Nifty also a little bit in the last few minutes of trading session at this point. But some of the ones which are really taking a knock in the trading session today is GAIL, Wipro, HPCL, IOC, Vedanta. So there's a whole list of stocks which are really taking a knock. Buzzing stock at this point, SAIL flashing on your screens, up almost 2% up in the trading session. JP Associates more than 6% up in the trading session right now. Now, All India Confederation of Goods Vehicle Owners Association calls for indefinite strike. Let's get in Ashpreet Sethi, my colleague, to know what the protests are all about. Ashpreet.
Well, in fact, in a statement that was released today, the All India Goods Transportation Association, which includes truckers from across India, have said that they will be going on an indefinite strike from April 7. Now, what they are saying at this point of time is that IRDA, which is the regulator body as far as insurance is concerned, has gone ahead and increased the third-party insurance premium from by about, in fact, 800% from 2000. That's the claim that they've made, which has hurt their growth. Now, we'll have to wait and see what happens next, because remember, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu and other states are on board, which means that commodity supplies will be severely hit if IRDA doesn't come on board and talk to the truckers. Remember, a talk had taken place last month. However, they had failed miserably, which is why the truckers have gone ahead and said they will go on indefinite strike.
Okay, thanks a lot for giving us that update, Ashpreet. Well, moving on, Binani Industries defends itself on the alleged fraud transactions highlighted in a forensic report. They call the allegations false, and they say that these details are in public domain and the lenders were aware of all of these developments. Listen in.
All these transactions have very clearly been mentioned in the audited accounts of the company. Historically, it has run through various checks, including December 2014. The MRA was executed within the JLF, and all this was part of the discussion at the JLF post this was done. That was A. B, the forensic report, the current one, which has been done at the behest of the COC or the RP, has formally not been shared with the company. On 12th of March, what we understand, the report was ready. 14th of March, there was a COC. If you were to look at the agenda for the COC, if it was such a material disclosure, I would have felt this should have been item number 1 on the agenda. This did not figure on at the agenda at all, which itself for us shows that it was not that major. Otherwise, it should have been part of this. And why were the bidders not formally taken into confidence, or why was the progress of the forensic report not discussed at various stages?
First was the 487 crore rupees against the cement sales, which has not been recovered. Binani Cement had extended an intercorporate deposit of 1,148 crore rupees to its parent, Binani Industries, and forensic auditor has calculated that interest foregone on that account is close to 382 crore rupees.
I would like to say there are no related party transactions. There are certain transactions where the collections have been late, delayed, or may not have been generated as on date. If you recollect, maybe 3 years back, the company went through certain sales tax related issues. Company's accounts were frozen. New markets had to be looked at. Keeping all this in mind, there were certain steps taken. These purported fraud or the allegations, unfortunately, not a single meeting has been had even with the auditors of the company or the company management where these could have been discussed, clarified.
All right, on to a CNBC TV18 exclusive. Then we learned from sources that the GST Council has constituted a group of ministers to examine all the aspects for the reintroduction of reverse charge mechanism. Tim C. Jaipuria joins us with all those details. Tell us, Tim C.
As you rightly said, the GST Council has constituted a GOM on reverse charge mechanism. Now, this GOM is again under the chairmanship of Sushil Modi, Deputy CM of Bihar. And the agenda that has been given to the GOM is to examine all aspects for reintroduction of reverse charge mechanism. Remember, this entire exercise, as the terms of reference of this committee has been mentioned, is aimed at plugging tax evasion. GOM will be submitting its first report by 27th April to the GST Council, and they're concerned that misuse of the tax breaks and the breaks that are given to the composition scheme taxpayers is what is being done right now by the taxpayers, and which is leading to tax evasion. There are other members also in the GOM such as Thomas Isaac, Amar Agarwal, Manpreet Badal and Rajesh Agarwal of UP. So let's see what exactly the committee puts forward as how soon the reintroduction of reverse charge mechanism can be done. And yes, it will be first done for the composition taxpayers for sure, as the terms of reference of this committee mention. We'll keep you posted.
Okay, Timsi, thanks a lot for that. Well, moving on, the Committee of Creditors to SR Steel have rejected the JSW Group bid for the troubled asset, even as Sajjan Jindal says that they are willing to put in a higher bid at a short notice. Listen in.
So we had identified Bhushan Steel as the prime asset, but Tata outbidded us, which is fair. In this case, we wanted to re-enter, and we wanted to give a very good competition to, and the creditors would get more money if we were involved. But unfortunately, because they felt that if we were given an opportunity, then they will have to advertise it in the newspapers, and they have to call for the bids again, and people may ask for data room to be open. So we gave it in writing to the COC that we don't need any time, and we are willing to participate as is basis. And whatever information we have, we are willing to. But they did not, in their, let's say, their own discretion and in their thought process, they thought that they don't want to give a new entrant a chance. So they did not allow us, which is okay for us. I mean, if they don't want more money, then it's up to them. It's a public money after all. We were willing to participate and give a good fight.
All right. On that note, we're going to wrap up with this edition of Business Lunch. But